welcome to How to Deal When the Shit Gets Real podcast. I'm Rietta.
And I'm Connie. And we're talking about money, 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 money. Money!
Well, thank God we had to re-record because that was way more fun than the first time.
We were talking about finances today, not just money. I mean, we could just say money over and over again and everybody would be happy, right? Just kidding.
And just to clarify, we are not giving away any money. We are both poor and we cannot spare. I cannot spare a square.
Yes. It's more of how we manage money and maybe some like tips and tricks for you. You let us know what you think, what you do, if you have any special tips and tricks. So, Rietta, let's start off with you. What do you think's your most, your best tip for your money?
I feel like one of the things that has worked out the best for us personally, I feel like it can happen to anybody, and Connie, you can chime in on this, that if you don't pay attention, it's really easy to kind of like nickel and dime stuff away. Oh, I'm going to get an energy drink on the way home, or, oh, I'm not going to bring my lunch today, so I'm going to have to buy lunch. So it's really easy, $10 here, $5 there, $2 there, which adds up. One of the things that was really important for us, and not saying that we are crazy nickel and dimers, but it's just something that helps keep us in check, is there is a certain amount every paycheck. So for both paychecks, a certain amount goes straight into the savings account. Doesn't touch the checking, goes straight past go into the savings account every month, twice a month, no questions asked.
Same. I do enjoy that because I have one full paycheck that goes directly into savings. And then I have a little bit extra that I think I need to bump up now that Tom's gotten a raise. I need to bump my one up because it's a measly $50 like a week. But on that same note, it doesn't matter whatever amount you can spare, you can spare. Also, what I help with that whole nickel and diming thing, so say you're like me and addicted to Starbucks coffee. I have now limited myself to only getting 1 to 2 fancy coffees only during the weekend. So I've budgeted so that I know I'm going to spend this money because it is something that I like and it's my weekend treat. Because I don't get a lot of other types of treats. Mm-hmm. I know that that's what I have budgeted for a couple of nickel and dimes, like Rietta said.
That is a perfect example of something that people don't think about being a big expense. Like, oh, it's $4, $5 or whatever for a Starbucks. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing it 2 to 3 times a week, multiply it by that, multiply it by a year. I mean, you're going to end up adding up to $400 or $500.
And that's a lot of money. That's exactly what made me and Tom stopped getting. When I went downtown, I used to get a Starbucks almost every other day. Mm-hmm. And that's what stopped us, was like, holy shit, look at how much you're spending. Also, I don't have that insane need to like go out every morning to get Starbucks anymore because I work from home now. So that has because I'm working from home and not going downtown into the city early in the morning, because the temptation isn't there, I should say.
Yeah. And of course, we're not hating on anybody. Like, if that is your jam and you want to get a Starbucks every day and you have that in your budget, wonderful. Good for you. But just as a tip for people that are trying to save more money, definitely look at the little things that you're doing that don't seem like they would add up to much, but potentially could. Mm-hmm. And like Connie said, even if you're only putting $20 a month into your savings account, that's still $20 that you were not putting in there last month.
And also, I would definitely suggest a high interest savings account. I think it's the shit that we're getting 2%. Also, it helps because our regular checking account is a different bank than our savings account, which does help me in one position, that when I open up my bank to see what my checking account is at, I also don't see the savings, so that I'm not constantly wanting to spend that money I see in the savings account. You know what I mean? It's not a tempting little number that I can just purchase. It's super easy. You just hit the transfer button real quick. You can have access to that money in a split second, versus my savings account is through Ally, and it's more, I have to go online to the computer. It takes 2 days to transfer.
This is where Kevin Hart comes into play. See how I've got my money set up is that I've got so much in checking and so much in savings, and it takes 2 days for it to transfer. Yeah, that's what Connie's talking about.
Exactly. And so because I don't really see it and it takes so long, it doesn't really matter. I don't think about constantly trying to transfer money.
Right. So that's your key thing. High interest savings, low interest credit cards.
Hell yeah. That is for sure. Now, I don't get as many low interest credit cards as Rietta, but she's lucky and I'm not, so it's fine.
Well, that's just one of the perks of being able to use an account that is dedicated completely to military. So there are some perks. I mean, we suffer a lot. No, I'm just kidding. We don't suffer. Things are just a little
Different.
You guys are experiencing kind of military life in COVID right now, to be totally honest, not being able to prepare for anything, not sure what's going to happen. Welcome to military life.
But never really thought about it like that, but okay.
You're welcome. We are lucky. I use USAA. So if you are a military person, or even if somebody in your family is, Luke might be able to hook you up, Connie, because sometimes you can set it up for your family. I have one set up for my dad. So
oh wow, that's nice.
So you can potentially get one
set
set up.
Now it makes me curious to see if that's what Luke has or not, but I doubt it.
Yeah, he probably doesn't. But yeah, so the first credit card we ever got as a married couple, Connie's whispering me, if only you guys could see. But anyway, I never had a credit card until I got married, which is, I know, probably crazy to some people, but I never had one until I got married. The first one we got was through USAA. I actually still have it. Interest, it's retardedly low. But
I wish. Oh my God.
But it's awesome. And I mean, it's got a lower credit. What's it called?
Max. Your max amount of credit is lower.
Yeah, the max amount you can spend on it is a lot lower. But I mean, it's got enough on there that if like the car broke down, it would absolutely cover it. You know, it would be enough to cover things that you would need. And then the interest rate is low.
And that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah.
It does suck, though, that for the average person, like, you're lucky to get a credit card below 20%. And I think that's absolutely insane. But
it is.
I mean, whatever. Because I get those credit card deals in the mail all the time. And let us all say how annoying that is. If you could not, that would be great. And the whole reason why they do that, though, is because they want your money. They want you to pay a shit ton of interest. Yep. They want you to not be smart and have multiple credit cards and not just a couple.
Right.
They want you to spend above your means so that you're always paying them off. And that, to me, is a headache and a half.
Yes, it is. And, you know, the young military guys will go out and buy a new car, which is another area that you can get screwed. And they will make a deal with the dealership, and the dealership will usually do it because they know that they're military and that they have a consistent paycheck coming in, and they will sell to them out of their means and give them a ridiculously high interest rate. And then, you know, 3 months later, they have to bring the car back because they can't afford the payment and the interest rate because it's outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a lot in life, is living within your means.
Yes, absolutely. Which, yeah, overspending basically too, which is kind of what we talked about with the nickel and diming in a way.
Yes.
That you need to not overspend. You need to live within your means. And we all have things that we want, but just because you want it doesn't mean
you're going to get it. Yeah, or that you need it. And actually, another way that I limited my nickel and diming was I literally took a full month's PDF that you get from the bank saying this is what you've spent your money on and this is the money that you've received. And I split it up all into an Excel sheet. And I took out just like all of our bills, and I have now on a spreadsheet bills just lined up for when they're going to be taken out. And I rearranged all of my bills so that they're taken out at the time when I have the most money in our accounts and such like that, so that we're never like, oh my God, I have 50 cents in our account. What are we going to do? You know, especially because all of your bills can be changed. You can change your dates to almost any bill.
Yes. That is the plus with setting it up to be paid online. If something happens, you know, said month, you can move the date that it's due or that you're supposed to pay it a week. You know,
you just have to remember.
Yeah, you just have to remember and stay on it. I know there are probably people out there that are living more paycheck to paycheck than maybe Connie and myself are, but that still doesn't mean that you can't budget and make your money work for you instead of you working for your money.
Exactly. And it helps you to keep things in perspective. I see, so after I take out all of the bills from my paycheck, I'm like, okay, I have X amount for groceries, X amount for savings, and we'll leave in a couple $100 just for fun money. Whatever we do, we do. If we don't use it, then it'll just go into savings. It helps me visualize, because I feel like that could be a one reason why you're running out of money and you can't seem to stop living paycheck to paycheck, is because you're overspending before you even realize it.
Right. Yeah. And I think that is a lot of things. We have this wonderful system where your bills just automatically get taken out. A lot of people have just direct pay where you don't even have to pay attention to it. So you are not really seeing where your money is going. And I think that's a good point, Connie, that it helps that if you write it out and you actually see what's coming in, what's going out, and what's left over, it makes you more aware. And then you can be like, holy shit, we're nickel and diming, or we're overspending, or whatever you want to call it, $400 a month. What are we doing with that? We should be putting at least half of it into savings. It's kind of like your own wake-up call.
And it helps me to visualize, okay, this is what I can do with this extra money. I can pay off this extra bill and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or just put it into your high interest savings account.
Hell yeah. There's a lot of banking options and stuff like that nowadays, because from that one website, Ally, that I use, if they want to, hit us up for, sponsorship, that'd be great.
Yeah, let us know.
But from that one banking site, you can trade stocks like on your own. Like you can do your own like market research and buy and trade stocks. Or, which is what I did, was we put money into somebody directs all of our money into different stocks and bonds according to, I answered a survey of how I wanted our money to be split up. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that you can do on just your regular banking site. You can sign up for a CD, which I'm thinking about doing for my nephew, as a good college fund, because that's another different type of high interest savings. Go and explore whatever your preferred banking is. They normally have these types of high interest savings account, different accounts that you could open to save more money or to build up wealth, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you can look into even just simple money market accounts, which usually have better stuff going on too. So just doing your research, figuring out what works for you, and not giving into your heart and everything at once. Which
exactly,
I don't know if any of you guys follow on Instagram, the Awkward Yeti. They always have these cute little cartoons of heart and brain and liver, and they're always really funny. And there was one up, I think last week, and Heart was running around going, want, and Brain is following around Heart, squirting him with a water bottle going, need, question mark. And he's like, want. And it goes on for a couple of, what do you call the little windows on comics? They have a name.
I don't know. The cartoon window. I have no idea.
But yeah, the couple
for a couple
slides.
Of frames.
There you go, frames. Yeah, it goes on for a couple of frames of him trying to squirt him, and finally by the fifth frame, he's like, "Need?" question mark. He's like, "No," and then he goes, "They grow up so fast." So it's really cute. It's really cute because it made me think of it, and it's kind of the idea of, do you really need it? Why don't you sleep on it? Decide if you really need it, and then if you feel the same in the morning or different, then rethink it. But it was just a funny way to visualize it.
I basically told my friend that I did that same thing, where I was walking around Home Goods, which is basically any homeowner dangerous store to go into.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can always find something that you want.
Oh yeah, I love Home Goods.
And I found a pillow that I really wanted for the front stair. I wanted it. And I was just like, oh, I don't know, $25 for a pillow. I feel like I could find a better deal. And I basically ended up talking myself out of it. My friend was like, you had the strength to put back all of your items in Home Goods? How?
It's not easy at Home Goods.
Yeah, Home Goods is very tempting, but I was like, it's really not worth it because I have a pillow. It's not the greatest looking pillow. I
Hmm.
don't, because to me, I wanted a bright colored pillow, and it's a gray chair, and it has like a silver pillow on it, and I'm like,
Hmm.
it's too similar, in
Yeah.
color, and that's why I wanted to get this pink and purple floral pillow, and
Hmm.
I was just like, but I have a pillow though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But
Like
I have one though. Yeah.
I technically have one, even if it's not my preferred pillow.
Right. Even though if it's not the one you wanted. Yeah.
Exactly.
You didn't need it.
Yep. So I put it back.
Yeah, your chair would survive without having another pillow.
Yes. I mean, I use it. It's fine. It works.
Hey, that's all that matters. It's a pillow.
Yep. I mean, and I have to remind myself about that stuff like when I go into regular stores, I'm like, ooh, look at this, look at that. And then you have to remind yourself, okay, yeah, but you have 50 sundresses at home. You for sure don't need another one.
Yeah, exactly. I know I have to do that too because when you see something and you're attracted to it, you're like, oh, that's cute. I'm going to get it. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. I have 10 other things at home that I'm not wearing. So I really don't need this.
Yes. And I actually ended up one time, and I think I'm going to actually just donate them. I did get like, two really cheap dresses from Target, and
Hmm.
I liked them when I first got them, but as time went on, like really not like them. So, and it's now past the point of return. So I think I'm just going to donate them. That's what I'm saying is that could have been an extra $20 I didn't spend on two dresses.
Right. Two
And
dresses that you never wore.
that I never wore. The tags are still on it. I might keep one of the two because one looks more flattering than the other. But I also don't like just having stuff in my closet and having stuff in my drawers that I don't wear because we have a limited amount of space as it is. I don't feel like just filling up space.
Exactly. You just got to kind of stop yourself and be like, do I really need this? So, good reminder.
Exactly.
The other thing that I had wished I had known when I was younger, that I wish somebody had told me that I'm going to tell you guys right now in case you don't know, is when you are trying to build up your credit score, if you have a student loan, your student loan does not help build your credit, unfortunately. Which is
Nope.
kind of a bummer because more than likely, if you're like me, you had, 20 plus $1,000 that you were paying off that you thought for sure, hey, I'm paying X amount of money every single month. And it does not count towards helping your credit score at all.
Which is absolutely crazy because if you think about it, if it's even through the government, even your student loans through the government,
Mm-hmm.
it should count because it is a regular payment
Right.
that you are making and you signed up for, whether it was your college government student loan or and definitely one through a private bank.
Right.
That's showing what almost all credit is showing. Your credit history is basically, have you paid on time?
Right. Which is why I was under the assumption that my student loan would count because I paid it every month on time. It was a decent amount of money and you figured it would count, but it doesn't.
Yep. Super annoying. Bless you.
Excuse me. It is annoying, but one of the best things is your car payment and your credit card. If you pay your credit card religiously, but your car payment is the best because that is a big chunk of money, and obviously you need to be paying that monthly. So if you fuck it up, it'll fuck you up real quick. But if you stay on it, it'll build you up real quick.
When Tom was very young, at the age of 18, if not younger,
Mm-hmm.
how he ended up getting into a little bit of financial trouble, but he ended up getting it fixed. But it was with a car payment, and they ended up just transferring it to like a credit card,
Uh-huh.
and it ended up being okay. He got it worked out, but there was an issue. I can't remember what, but yes, I don't. And I'm sure it hurt his credit for a little while because they had to transfer the loan into a credit card for him or something like that.
Something crazy like that, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure just doing that transfer hurt him. But
yeah, it does. It does hurt you when you transfer stuff from one credit card to another or one. Yeah, that stuff does hurt you. Not a lot, but it does.
– – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – –– – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – –– I talked to a financial advisor, which somebody then told me that's not a real financial advisor. And I told them to fuck off because it's through Fidelity, which is a financial company.
Right.
And just because my work provides it for me doesn't make any less legitimate.
Right. No.
Anyway, I talked to a financial advisor about rearranging our credit card debt to pay it off quicker. He told me, because he specializes in getting people's credit up, and he recommended that you pay your credit cards not the entire balance, but you pay your minimum payment and some more always on the first of every month, because that looks much better than waiting or whatever.
Or the
So
due date or whatever.
yeah, your credit score will go up dramatically if you pay it the first of every month.
So there you go. There's a little tidbit if you're looking to build your credit that can help you. And just note, go out and buy a car just to build your credit score. That's just one of the best things that builds your credit score. But yeah, that's not a reason to buy a car.
Especially if you cannot afford it. That will end up hurting you more than helping you, especially if you can't afford it. Start out small. I applied for a credit card and I didn't think, honestly, I was like, what, my sophomore, junior year in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, yeah, why not? I have a job. It's time to get a credit card and become a responsible adult. It's better now than waiting, because this will build my credit up versus, other things. But anyway, I just started with a small credit card.
There you go. And
I remember being shocked at how much they gave me. I was like, really?
Yeah, when we got our second credit card after our little one with the low interest rate, it was the same thing. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money, especially when you go from one that doesn't have a lot to one that has quite a bit more. You're like, whoa, I'll never need that much.
Right? I know. And that's actually what me and Tom ended up doing, is rearranging our credit cards, because I have decent credit cards. I've always had decent credit cards. But I always got points and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
neither one of his cards, you didn't get any points or cash back, or there were really no perks. He just got them because he needed X, Y, and Z, and just never got rid of them. And I'm like, no, it's time to get rid of them and get an adult card where you get cash back or there's some sort of perks.
Yeah, that's what our second card is. We get cash back.
One of his first credit cards was for $600. That's relatively small. I would rather you just have one card with a higher balance and better rewards. So let's just cancel this little small one.
Yes. And if you do not want to keep a credit card open on your credit that you are not using, it does not look good. You're better off closing it.
Yes, exactly. Which is what we did. What other tips and tricks you got?
Oh my goodness. I think that was our main thing. I mean, I feel like some people make it more complicated than it need to be. And obviously if you've got a lot more going on, it can be a little more complicated if you've got
a lot more money.
Yeah. And if you've got, if you've got bills and if you've got child support, if that kind of stuff is being added in, then it's a totally different thing. But I think we talked about the main things that I at least wanted to talk about, seeing it on paper, knowing what's coming in and what's going out, budgeting for that, putting a certain amount into the savings account, high interest savings, low interest credit cards, that's pretty much the most of it.
So I saw a commercial for basically a debit card and savings account for your child. The parent controls it, helps them to manage and learn how to manage your money. Would you end up doing that for Jackson, or would you just figure it out? I don't know. Just do cash. I don't know.
No, I would definitely want him to know how to take care of things like that. There was tons of people that I knew my age that were never taught how to balance a checkbook, had no idea how to do it, or didn't know how to write checks. I mean, checks have kind of become obsolete at this point. I mean, you use them here and there, but no, I definitely want him to know how important savings is. And, right now when they're little, he just thinks money is magical and it just comes from anywhere. Like if I get money out of the ATM, he's like, the machine just gave you free money. And I'm like, no, that's not free money.
That is my money. Yeah, right.
Wish.
We all wish. We all want that money tree in the backyard.
No, but it's definitely that. I think it's important for them to learn as soon as you can teach them the value of money. That it doesn't just come from a machine. I talked to him about that. I'm like, no, that's just a way to get the paper money from our account that daddy and I work and that we deposit into, that's just a way to get it out. You want your kids to understand it, that it's not just magical.
Magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you think, because I mean, the commercial, the kid was probably like 10. When would you start doing that with your child?
I think that's a good age. I don't think I would let him run around with a card by himself. I would keep it in my wallet. I would want to know when he wants to use it and what for, and help him decide. But I would definitely let him have an account at that age for sure.
Actually, the app was really cool. It allows the parent to lock the account. To have him have the card, and that he won't be able to use it because it's locked from your account, which I thought was interesting. You can send allowance or whatever. You can send them the allowance through direct deposit.
Oh, I think I did see that commercial. I did see that commercial. Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting because me and Tom have talked about how we would handle children with money. I mean, we don't have any kids at the moment, just to see like, oh, are you on the same page as me type of thing.
Yeah, he already has a savings account, but he doesn't have any access to it. It's basically just a place that, we put the coins that he collects, the tooth fairy money. I mean, I let him spend some of it, of course, but Christmas money,
all the birthday money, Christmas money, all that good stuff.
Baptized money, anytime we put a good portion of it in there. So he does already have a savings account, but he has no access to it whatsoever.
Yep. I'm thinking about starting basically just like a CD for Isaac. And I want to start one for all of my nieces and nephews, I think.
Oh, there you go.
Just because I think what would be cool is to do $100 in a CD and every 5 years add a couple $100 more, getting it accruing, and then they'll have a good chunk, not a crazy amount of money, but they'll have a little bit of money for if they need stuff for college, that kind of thing. Because could be, if you're talking about a 2%, savings account every 5 years, then every 5 years you're also adding money to it. I feel like it could be a decent little chunk for a college or high school graduate.
I mean, that's essentially what our grandma did for us. She gave us savings bonds. So it was the same type of thing. Every Christmas, every birthday, we got a new savings bond.
Yeah, and Tom had 3, which just made me think about it. And instead of buying new bonds, we ended up putting it into a money market instead. You can't get paper bonds anymore, because that's what I would have wanted to do, was give them paper bonds, because then it seems like, you're getting a gift that you have to hold on to that your parents can't spend. I don't know that if I would give them $100 that it would, I don't know for sure that they would put it into a savings account. I don't know how they manage their money. But if you were giving them a physical paper bond, that they have to have it for X amount of years. That's why I was thinking of a CD, keeping it in my name, and then just cashing it out when they become of age of 18.
There you go. No, that's a great gift. Anything like that is providing them for their future is always a great investment. I haven't done it as much with Jackson just because he has Kyle's GI Bill. So his college is paid for. Granted, not that we couldn't save for other things, which, I mean, we will. And he has his own savings account, like I said, but we're not like as diligent as we would be if he didn't have the GI Bill. Yeah.
And nieces and nephews aren't going to have that, and neither will my kids. I'm definitely setting my child up with a college savings account, because I definitely don't want them to be in there were so many times in my high school career where I was like, are you for real? We don't have a college savings account for me. And then my parents are divorced, so then it's every little thing was like a fight.
Yeah.
So, and if something happened to me or Tom, I definitely wouldn't want it to just be another battle,
Yeah. If we didn't have the GI Bill when he was born, I would have already set up a CD or a savings bond or a money market account for him from day one. But since he's going to be fortunate enough to be able to use that, and we are still, like I said, we are still saving money for him, just not as aggressively as we would have.
Yeah, because that other money is going to be for other things, school supplies, a car, maybe. There's a lot of things. Books. Well, books you can get fucking cheap.
You can.
I got all of my books for 99 cents.
I was never able to get my books that cheap, but that's okay. But he can do
Amazon, because Amazon wasn't a big thing when you were in college, was it?
That was not an option.
Yeah, and Amazon was an option when I was in college, and I got all of my textbooks used, $1 plus $5 in shipping and handling.
That's not
So I'm
bad.
paid, yeah, I was paying like $6.
That wasn't a big thing when I was in college. I just had to buy used books, and even used books were expensive. I
Oh
mean, super
yeah.
super expensive. And then when you sell them back, you get like nothing. I still have textbooks that I hung on to that were related to my degree because why am I going to take $5 when I can just keep the book and I can reference it again if I need to? So
Yeah. No, I know. When I was in community college, there was a lot more books where, nope, you have to buy it at the community college's library. It's not offered anywhere else. But once I got into a larger university, that's when it was Amazon, $1.
there you go.
Fabulous.
Yep. Can't go wrong there. So I'm glad that is an option now because that was one thing that was really frustrating. So that, and or he could use it to pay, rent on his apartment or buy groceries or put gas in his car or, whatever. There's tons of other things that he can use it for, but at
Oh, for
least
sure.
the major expense will be covered. And, who
Hell
knows?
yeah.
He might not even decide to go to college, which is fine. Maybe he'll join the union or join the
Yeah,
military like his dad.
there's a lot of options out there. I mean, and also, he's been now submerged in the military life, so he might want to.
Yeah, he might want to. Who knows? Or he might be over it at that point. You never know.
Yep.
So that actually reminded me of only one other thing that we didn't talk about, and some of our aunts were not smart enough to prepare for is your retirement.
Yes, 401k. That's
Yeah,
really
make
important.
sure you have a 401 or
Yes.
my husband's is called a TSP, whatever it may be. Make sure you're getting a good return on it. Make sure
Mhm.
it's worth your time because there are tons of different options. My husband is way better at this than I am. I've had him handle all of our retirement stuff because he knows what to look for. Pick the right program and, they match you or even go beyond matching you. It's worth it. And we don't even miss that chunk of money anymore that they take out because you're just so used to it being
Oh yeah, for
taken.
sure.
So absolutely 100% do something for your retirement. Don't lean on getting an inheritance. Don't lean on I don't know, anything except for having
Yes.
something for your retirement.
Also, make sure both you and your partner have something, or at least enough money in the account for both of you, because I laugh at this that Tom, when I got my 401k, he was like, well, then I don't need one. I'm like, no, no, no. Yes, you do. My
Yes.
401k is for me to retire. You, when you get your 401k after a year of working at this place, then you get your 401k and you get a pension.
Mhm.
So you need to add to that.
Work the system, man. I mean, I don't have my own retirement right now because I'm kind of working my own business right now, and we have a great TSP through the military, so it's not as aggressive. But when I was working a regular full-time job, I had a retirement fund, and even when you leave, if you do
You still
leave,
get it.
you still get it. You can either transfer it to your new job or you can take the money out of it and put it into savings or whatever. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
have to do that. And what a pain in the ass it is that
it is.
I have to get a check from, and it's like $2,000 because I was only there for maybe a year and I was only putting in maybe 1% of my income because at the time I didn't have a lot of income to spare.
Hmm.
So how annoying is it that they have to cut me a check and then they're going to send it to me and then I have to send it to my 401k company. Like, okay, thank you for making this annoying.
Yeah, way to make this.
Like, why can't it be as simple as a bank where you just direct deposit it? I don't get it.
Right.
Why do you need to make it more complicated? Because let me tell you, technology could definitely take care of this for me. Like,
Right,
or at least it
exactly.
should.
It should, yeah. And since Connie brought it up that she was only putting 1% in, just so you guys know, if you don't know like the standard number or the recommended number that you put in or that you contribute, whatever word you want to call, is between 15 and 20%. So just,
Really? Oh,
yes.
yeah, no, I guess that makes sense because is it totally combined with your what your percentage is matching? Because
It does vary. I guess I should say so what you should be putting in should be 10%.
yeah,
Ideally.
and I'm
10% is
putting
like the
in,
magic number. And 15 to 20 is basically what you should be getting total between what is being
yeah,
matched and yours.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting a total of 12% because I do 6% and they match my 6.
Yeah, so that's not
But
bad
I
at
think
all.
but I think that's good enough.
We put in, Kyle puts in 10%, which is pretty standard across the board, 10%. Yeah, sorry, the 15 to 20 was kind of confusing. That's including whatever they're matching. So Kyle puts in 10, they put in 10, so it's 20 total.
Yeah. Well, and it also depends on your age because the younger you are, you don't need to necessarily put in as aggressively. Because if you're starting out, then you have more time to build it.
Yeah, you do have more
So if
time to
you
build it.
start off small, that's okay. Still in your 20s and you're just starting off and you're just doing 1, 3, whatever, 5, 6%, that's okay. It's as you get older, you want to start putting in more because you're getting closer and closer to retirement.
Yeah, and obviously you can put in whatever the heck you want. It's your retirement, it's your choice. Just letting you guys know the average number and what they recommend to be best settled when you retire, no matter an age, is 10%. But
Oh, yeah.
obviously, it's your retirement. You can do whatever you want, but that's just to give you an idea of where you should be in the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
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 So I think we covered everything. Retirement, savings, all the good stuff.
Even got a little bit of how would you raise your children?
Yeah, with savings, but it was still money based, so it still
Oh
counted.
no, it's still applicable. It's only because that freaking commercial has been popping up everywhere for me. That's all.
Yeah, they do. They do show that commercial a lot. But once you started describing it, I knew what commercial you were talking about.
Yeah, I just wish I could remember the name of the company.
I
But
know,
you
right?
know what, though? Honestly, my mom did that with Chase, and there wasn't any special parental,
Nah.
because you can just do it with whatever bank you use, honestly.
A lot of things have changed from when we were younger. Technology is amazing. You can pretty much do anything that you could possibly think of.
Yeah. All right, guys. So remember to open up those high interest savings account and get low interest credit cards.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Rietta,
I'm Connie.
and thank you for listening.